Greetings. My name is Hernan Tejeda. I'm at the University of Idaho, and I will present to you the Dairy Outlook. So, to begin, I will talk about the production. The U.S. average monthly production of milk increased October year to year by 230 million pounds. Now, this was due mostly because of two factors. One, if we look at the number of dairy cows, we see here in 2022 quite lower than 2021. However, in August it surpassed the number of cows in 2021, and in October it was up 31,000 compared to the year 2021. In addition, the average milk produced per cow year to year in October was up 17 pounds compared to last year's October. So every year there's been and every month there's been an increase in milk production. This last October was no different. Let's take a look at the change in milk production percentage-wise in the 24 largest milk producing states. So if we look at the West Coast, Washington, this is year to year in October, actually dropped 1.7% in milk production. Oregon did not change, and Idaho had an increase of 3.2%. California dropped 0.5%. Utah remained unchanged. New Mexico dropped 4.2%. And here in the plains and towards the Midwest, there was the biggest increases. Texas continues to grow at 7% October year to year. Kansas 4.5%. South Dakota increased 14.1%. Iowa 7.6%. Minnesota and Wisconsin, Michigan, just a little bit, less than 1% increase or none at all. And towards the east, New York and Pennsylvania had the largest increases, though modest, a little less than 2% each. Virginia and Florida had the biggest drops at 3.4%, and Florida dropped 13%. Surprisingly, Georgia had a big jump, 13% in milk production. I would like to point out that the price received for cull cows has been the highest in the previous 4+ years. We can see from here that in August, September, prices at over $90 per hundredweight of cull cows, more than $15 or about $15 than the previous high of last year. October had a drop in about $15 from September, but it's still substantially above the other values. So let's look at the U.S. all milk price. If we see things are looking quite good, the U.S. milk price all throughout the year 2022 was more than $4.50 higher than for 2021 and the previous years. It hovered up above $27 in May. It's been decreasing to $24, a little bit above in August, but most recently it's almost reaching $26 in October. So despite the increase in milk production, prices have held strong. We can see here, conversely, how the value of the dairy ration has also increased. We know the inputs, for feed, corn, soybean, alfalfa, they have been rising also steadily, given current world market conditions. And they're at an all-time high of more than 12 years. I will defer to my colleagues doing the crop outlooks to explain a little bit more about this in detail, but suffice to say, it does not seem that it will drop anytime soon. So, having mentioned all that, let's look at the dairy margin coverage occurring now in 2021. If we see here, at the beginning of the year, it kicked in and a lot of payments were being made as it dropped from its highest at $9.50. Sorry, this was 2021. At the beginning of 2022, given the all milk prices being so high, DMC was not paying. However, towards the middle of the year, it did kick in at less than $9.50. Projections are that it will continue. However, we will look more of this in detail in the following slides. Let's look at the Class 3 milk price announced by USDA. This is based on the components of Class 3 milks, which, by the way, produce cheese and dry whey. So we can see that it was also at an all-time high, excepting 2020, where we had COVID, and so the situation was very unusual, given that there were support programs and there was quite a cut in production then. But towards September, it hovered back towards $20. It's since increased to 22, and it's still above 21 as of November. And this has some type of factor in it, what are the monthly ending stock of cheese for 2022? We can see that we're in a 4-year high compared to the previous years, month to month. However, now it's starting to decrease and to reach levels from last year, 2021. There's still a lot of cheese, okay, compared to the previous years. Let's just say that. And we will see that reflected in the Class 3 prices compared to Class 4. Talking about Class 4 milk price is extraordinarily higher than previous years. More than $5-6 than we have seen just last year. As we can see, during the summer, it hit $26 per hundredweight. It's since decreased a little, 24, 25, and just a little under 24 in November. But these, again, are prices quite substantially higher than the previous years, which were at most 19 or touching 20 in December 2021. Let's look at what happened here. Remember, Class 4 is butter. Well, the stocks of butter are at a 4-year low. Okay, so there's a lot of demand. There's a lot less butter in the stocks, as we can see in September at less than 2.8 million pounds, and this is a 4-year low. So, as I mentioned, Class 3 and Class 4 futures, let's look at how they behaved the past 120 years. So from early August, they were a little over $20, both of them. Okay, the red is Class 3, the green is Class 4, but then Class 4, with the continuous drop in the stocks, plus the exports, which we will see, increase much more than Class 3, which is for cheese and dry whey. They did come together again just this mid-November, but once again in December, Class 3 futures, which is cheese and dry whey, dropped quite a bit in comparison to Class 4 butter. Let's look at the spot cheddar cheese during the past 60 days, again from early October, and here we're comparing the red is 40-pound blocks and the green is barrels. We know the blocks are mostly restaurants and others, barrels are more for processing. So until around November, barrels were higher. And after that, blocks have taken off and barrels have continued to drop a bit. It's just currently under 190, and but blocks are above around 210. So let's look at the cheese exports. Well, exports have increased steadily from 2016 onward. Remember 2013, 2014, those were the heyday years. And then it dropped substantially, but now it's picked up quite a bit nicely. And we forecast that 22, the year will end up being including better than 2021, which was at a 10-year high. So cheese exports, they continue to grow. In terms of dry whey, we can see during the past 60 days, again, October, how they hovered about. There was some volatility in the market early October to mid-October and early November, and yet they have leveled off between 40 cents, 43 and 45 cents, which, by the way, is still quite good compared to other years. So let's take a look at annual dry whey exports. Here, they've picked up after 2019 with the previous COVID, but there was quite a drop there because of trade wars and others. And but now it's picked up again. These are projections that we will be back at least to similar numbers as in 2014. So now let's look at spot butter prices from early October, CME, how they behaved. Remember, they were doing quite well. Then there was a plummet early November, and yet it has recovered from that, and it's hovering around 280, 285. So I'd say still favorable butter prices. Taking a look at the exports for that, it's picked up, as mentioned, year over year. And although it hasn't reached the level from 2014, it's still, or 2015, it's still on a growth path. Looking at non-fat dry milk price, remember this also affects class 4. The past 60 days, there's been a steady drop. And this is mostly due to exports dropping also. Conversely, to all the other dairies products, non-fat dry milk has experienced a drop in exports. And at the same time, there's more value added with exports of the other dairy products. So what does the future convey? So I'm going to pull out here. This is a lot of information from colleagues at Dairy Markets and Policy. Well, there seems to be, for the next year, a sort of slowdown in the heyday prices. In other words, class 4 should drop at least $1.50. That's what's anticipated going forward. And class 3 should hover around $20, $25 going into the second half of next year. Most reason for this is because high prices are cured by high prices. So there's an anticipation of more production. USDA already mentioned that. So they also revised their price a little lower. And however, these are still, I would say, very good conditions compared to other years, the last 5 years from 2016 onward. Now, a caveat is that the margin will be affected by, you know, the inputs, crop prices, all that. And again, please look into my colleagues for that matter. Thank you very much. And of course, if any questions, be happy to answer. And if you have any questions afterwards also, you can email me. I'll be happy to address. Thank you very much.